welcome. Right on time, absolutely. Please take a seat there. And well, let us begin with this session. We've been waiting with bated breath, and I think it comes in at a very crucial time, Yumi, when we are discussing about navigating the global borders.
Yes.
You know, with all that's going on in the world. But let me say this at the very beginning of the session. We are not trying to understand geopolitics here. We are trying to make lives easier for the travelers. What should they be following? The tips they should be following when they are concerned about documentations, when they are concerned about visas. And especially if we speak of places which have issued travel advisories only in the recent past, given the political temperatures in their own nations, how should one cope up with these situations and go ahead and get their documentations?
Sure. Thanks for having me here. It's my pleasure. And you're right. I think especially now in India, as we all know, and we've talked about even yesterday, that the outbound travel is very buoyant. A lot of people are traveling. In fact, I think the numbers that are traveling abroad outside of India has surpassed the pre-COVID levels. So definitely, I mean, everybody wants to travel. After COVID, we thought it was going to be, like a revenge travel. But now what we see with the young generation, the demographics, I think travel has become a way of life. More, I guess, post-COVID, it's psychological. I think the mentality of Indians are changing. Now they've become a very travel-focused instead of, I mean, we were always a saving economy, right? But now I think people are investing on experiences, going abroad, seeing places, not just outside of India, but also within the domestic travel sector. And yes, I think at VFS Global, we manage in India about 55 client governments for whom we do all the administrative tasks for visas. We have offices across 17, 18 locations, plus temporary service points across India. So we have a network of offices. And in this travel, I think visa is a very important factor. While people go and look at itineraries and destinations, what we see is visa always becomes the last minute, panic. And this is what we keep educating everybody and our trade partners, etc., that you need to plan that ahead, because people plan destinations, itinerary, how much, economics, etc., but visa always takes a backseat and they think about visa at the end. So what we advise is always apply in advance, because most of the countries now, whether it's UK or whether it is the Schengen countries, which are the popular destinations for any traveler, you can apply for a visa 6 months prior to travel. So that's a lot of time. Like if people are planning their vacation in summer, you can actually apply now. But that's what I think is something that we keep educating the travelers. In terms of documentation as well, everything is available in the VFS Global websites. If you're just visiting, you're a tourist, everything is very clear. What are the documents that you need to have? And as long as that is clear, it's actually a seamless process. Yeah, and if you apply in advance, you have the checklist, you have what is required if you're traveling, and then you need to book an appointment. So you get those appointments free, first come, first serve basis. You don't need to go and buy appointments through any agents or, anybody who's kind of saying that we can get you an appointment. It's all available in our websites. It's all free. You just need to travel well, plan well, and plan well in advance.
When you speak of visas, you very rightly mentioned this, how one needs to plan, and plan from way ahead, because this entire trend of traveling definitely has seen a major push after pandemic years. But what people a lot of times don't realize is that documentation takes time. So then in turn, what happens is they have developed a psyche about visas that, apply करने के बावजूद भी नहीं आता है. It will not come in time. That is the psyche behind this. What would you say to reassure all the travelers out there and even first timers out there to not get into this entire cycle of a psyche of fear that's going around with regards to visas? Yeah. That it's okay. You can apply it, have some time in your hand before you're planning your travel, and then apply for the documentation. How do you plan on educating them further?
So, we keep attending a lot of, I think if you look at India, to be honest, I think it is still a trade and a travel agent driven market. You know, of course, people who are business travelers, they are fairly, attuned to the, the process, and they know what documents to get. And it's basically business travelers, so, they get their letters from their company who's inviting them, etc. And they're fairly educated in that sense. Maybe the corporate travel, that they have their own travel desks within the offices. So they know the process. I think it's more, as you rightly said, the first-time travelers, tourists, because their first... is go to a travel agent because somebody is doing their tickets, their hotels, etc. Of course, we still have people who do their own travel itinerary hotels now with so much of online, platforms like Booking.com or Make My Trip, etc. People have started using them. But to be honest, there are a fair amount of people who still go to the travel agents. And we keep educating our travel partners, and they are, of course, a very important part of the whole ecosystem. So we have our updates to them, etc. I think it is kind of a myth or a psyche, as you rightly said, a fear. But if you look at any country that you wish to go to as a tourist, the documents are fairly simple because you just need to kind of show evidences that you are going for this many days. So you have a proper travel ticket. You're staying at this place, so you have the hotel bookings. And then, yes, I can pay for my travel. So you just need your last 3 months or 6 months bank statements or your ITR, whatever it is. So these are the key 3 things that the governments want to see, right? You are a genuine traveler, you have all the evidences, and you can afford to go. So it's actually as simple.
It is indeed simple when you put it out like that, and I think that's the message that needs to be communicated to all the travelers out there who are, planning for their next trip. But, Yumi, would you say that at this point, there's a lot of contribution that's coming from the content bloggers or tourist travel bloggers, for that matter, influencers, in terms of educating the viewers? And VFS Global at this point, what would you say, would you think of such a venture where you would want to bring in such influencers to help educate the masses further? Or would you say that sort of a, ecosystem should be created in collaboration with these bloggers so that you can reach out to the wider mass?
Yeah, I think that's just sort of trending now. What I can see is over the last 1 year, we have seen this, bloggers or travel influencers trending. We use our own social media platforms, and a lot of, we have our call centers who's educating people because they would call our helplines. So they do a lot of work in terms of educating them. Then we have our social media handles, the other, updates or the education stuff that we do with the agents. So we are doing that. So far, we've really not used, individual influencers or bloggers. But that's something that I think we can look at because it depends on what's trending. And if there is a lot of influence by these bloggers, then we should look at them as well. For us, it's as much as you can reach to the general public. So make it seamless and, as you said,
in the simplest way possible to clear their doubts.
Yeah, and clear that fear psychosis out. So, we look at various avenues to help our travelers to make it seamless.
When we are speaking of our very theme for this discussion today, which is navigating the global borders, what would you say is that one trend or rather factors behind people traveling more. Like you said, that it might have been a revenge travel of sorts, right, post-pandemic. But now we actually see that no, people are wanting to experience that, wanting to go out of their houses, be it within the country or beyond the borders of the country as well. And that too at a time when we see the geopolitical scenario rather embroidered with quite a few challenges at this point. What would you say is the push and the mentality out there among people?
I think, the geopolitical issues happen at a very political level. What I see is the travelers really don't think so much about, issues like that. And even, they work separately. At the psyche of people, you see, it really doesn't impact unless it's like a real issue, like, then they know it's out there.
Right.
At the face of it. Like if there was, I'm sure when the Ukraine war happened, nobody would like to sort of really, because that was so out in the news, in the public. But the other subtle political issues, I don't think it kind of really reaches a traveler. They still want to go out there and experience. That's one. And secondly, I think there's now with all of us being in social media, also a lot of influences from others, right? Okay, somebody's gone to, say, Azerbaijan, then everybody, that becomes like a trend.
And that was a trend.
That was a trend.
That was a trend in the recent
year.
past.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Last year. And suddenly, and visas were whatever visas on arrival or e-visas. So Vietnam became a trend. But I think Europe or the US or the UK, they are still very popular destinations for everybody. So those continue and the numbers keep, rising and people still want to go. But newer destinations are also really now coming into that kind of limelight. Influencers again, bloggers, influencers, plus friends, families. So people are traveling everywhere, whether you require a visa or you don't require a visa.
Definitely. One last question I would want to ask you before we conclude this very session. This is a little more on the, I wouldn't say political side, but a little more technical of a question. The government of India, and in fact the very recent budget that we have seen, it's had provisions which show quite a push to the tourism industry. Would you say over the last year, India as a country has also been evolving when we speak of this very sector? And how has your organization, caught up in that very particular push in supporting and enabling the travelers to maintain that very particular push that's come in, the trend?
Yeah, I think that's what, when we always talk about outbound travel being so buoyant for international travel, I think there's a lot of opportunity internally, right, for India. In fact, for us who travel everywhere, I personally feel, why aren't we marketing India as a destination? Because when you go and,
budget, yes,
and we have so many, we have heritage, we have culture, we've discussed that.
Any particular area you would say that still needs to get that attention, which hasn't been getting that attention in India?
I think, so not really any particular thing, but overall as a destination, because we have so many places. I think, India as a government alone perhaps may not be able to promote each and every. I think the state tourisms are, I think, equally, they need to play a part in promoting the destinations, because we have so much. And yesterday, I think in the evening, somebody was saying they should only Agra and Jaipur, but there's so much to do. And I think from India, the tourism body of India and the state tourism, they, I guess, really need to come together to.
It's a collaboration.
And I think
there is,
yes, I think I see that there's a lot of focus now on. They see an opportunity in the domestic tourism.
Absolutely.
So I think hopefully we'll be there like any other
countries. We are a growing economy, and definitely it has been a push that we've been.
We should be
noticing.
one of those in the bucket list for others as well. Yeah,
definitely. Well, Yumi Talwar from VFS Global, thank you so much for joining us on this session.